Well,
But I hear this from the clients I talk to, is that they have concerns around security. So what can one, how can we approach security when we're talking about open source?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a misnomer to think that open source makes something inherently less secure. Open source projects in general, everything, back in the day from the Linux and Unix operating systems, have attracted some of the world's best, most elite programmers because, they tend to be attracted to this ability to collaborate and work on really smart, really elegant solutions, which, then you go over to the enterprise side and you don't get often these really beautiful, elaborately done solutions when you actually look at the internals of the code. Open source is, a pure, open, ever improving, transparent thing that just gets better and better if you've got a community behind it. Everything from the way they test it to the way they review security to way they code functions to make things secure. Whereas you get into a corporate situation that's focused on profit and not the purity of the code and not the purity of the collaboration and the community and the systems in place to make the code beautiful. You get very messy things that you'll see in the news. These corporations that have some system or whatever it is that gets hacked. And of course, that happens to some degree with open source. But it's this culture of profit versus the beauty of the code that can make the difference. And the fact that in open source, not all projects, but when you get into a big project like Drupal, they have a dedicated security team that is reviewing the code, that has automated ways of testing the code and ensuring its integrity. And then you also have more eyes on the code, right? From the community. You get 10 guys working in some enterprise project supporting it, they're maybe not looking at the security, and it's definitely not as many eyes, and probably, like I said, the talent is maybe less elite. They're people who are just happy to get paid and, do some dev work. But on the open source end, you've got this community of really elite, smart folks reviewing everything. So that's a big difference, I think.
And also folks who are super passionate about it and really identify with that platform. So if something goes wrong on the platform or something needs to be addressed, there's really a rallying effect where people are going to immediately jump on this. And they're going to jump on this not because they're afraid that if they don't get this fixed, they're going to get fired or the company's going to get a black eye. It's more just that there's just an underlying feeling that if the integrity of the platform is compromised, that's bad for everybody. So there is this communitarian principle where everybody rallies to fix that, and therefore you see these holes get addressed very quickly.
Yeah, and to be honest, about WordPress, for example, you've maybe heard in the news or seen examples of WordPress sites getting hacked, but really that's because the site owners generally are not keeping their code up to date. One thing about open source is you need to keep it up to date because the community is releasing, fines and releases security fixes. So, just like anything, if you don't maintain it proprietary or not, you're very likely to open yourself up to security issues, security flaws that can lead to your site getting hacked. Same thing if you use some random guy's WordPress module that has very few views or uses or installations and just hasn't been reviewed. If you don't do your own internal code review, just like you would with if you're a developer at an enterprise situation, you can open yourself up to threats. So really good security hygiene, staying up to date, you can be just as secure, if not more secure, in open source.